Good day, Professor Frankie and friends. I'm Yubing, and with me, Victoria, Ariana, Adam, Abby, and Perlin will be presenting on the ethics of artificial intelligence in human resource management. This will be an outline of the presentation which we'll be going through. So artificial intelligence used to be a concept only seen in fictitious works, in novels, and in movies. However, recent development in the digital age has made it a reality that we face daily. It is a part of our society and it is scarily effective. AI has been also adopted in the HRM functions, from automating recruitment processes to even mundane work administration. Before we move on, let's look at some articles we have studied and analyzed for the insights we will be providing. The first article from Forbes, they are analyzing talks about the benefits of AI, especially with its processing capabilities, from its lightning fast manner to navigating huge databases. Furthermore, the AI's superb ability to handle menial tasks as well. The second article from HRM mentions the growing concern in the EU regarding the discriminatory practices of AI and how they hope to come to a fair and just solution. Lastly, an article from Japan Times talks about the current challenges of AI in recruiting posers, where marginalized groups are disadvantaged due to its discriminatory programming, and how governments are thinking of tackling this issue, whether with audits, regulations, or even bans. Next, Victoria will be elaborating on the promising outlook of AI in HR.
Thank you, Yubing. I'll be talking about some of the advantages of using AI in HR processes. We have identified three main advantages, which include efficiency, time saving, and forecasting. Firstly, the use of AI presents an evident increase in efficiency, especially with dealing with routine tasks. It weeds out the possibility of human error and delay regarding inefficient tasks that are tedious but menial. The hiring and recruiting process includes many of these jobs, such as scheduling interviews and sending emails to candidates. Additionally, AI is used to navigate through large databases and can recognize complex patterns in huge datasets, which would be more efficient than if a worker were to do the same. Next, AI is used to perform large amounts of work in shorter periods of time, which presents time-saving factor. With AI algorithms performing seemingly monotonous and endless tasks, it works in the operational interest of the company, ultimately increasing productivity. Lastly, AI can be useful in determining societal trends and forecasting using statistical methods. Statistical methods are highly effective for capturing historical trends in a company's demand for labor and giving precise predictions regarding the areas within an organization where there will be future labor shortages or surpluses. AI comes into play by providing more precise predictions by eliminating human error. I'll be passing on the time to Ariana, who will be discussing the drawbacks of using AI.
Thank you, Victoria. According to the article from HRM, the main drawback of using AI in the hiring process is the ethical concerns it poses, as AIs use the data of past hires to determine the best candidate for the job. Should the majority of previous hires be coincidentally of a certain race, the AI reject those of a different race as it determines that the best fit candidate will have the same traits. Thus, unintentional discrimination occurs. In addition, jobs with historical bias from the industry benchmark will discriminate against candidates who do not fit the past trends. For example, in the past, one had to be male to be a chef in the kitchen of a restaurant. Due to the historical bias, the majority of past hires is male. Thus, a person of any other gender applying to be a chef would find the application most likely rejected by the AI during the very first process of hiring, or face greater difficulty being recognized. As such, candidates applying to industries that have different demographics from themselves would face discrimination and biases, leading to ethical concerns in the rampant use of AI in recruitment. These concerns are currently huge drawbacks to the use of AIs, as these faults are rooted into the very logical basis of AI coding and programming. To add programming against the minefield of bias and discrimination would not only take a huge amount of money that many companies are unwilling to spend, but there are simply so many different kinds of bias and loopholes that programmers might not be able to rectify them all. That's it. I will now pass the time on to Adam to evaluate the advantages and drawbacks, as well as give our team's stance towards the use of AIs in the HR department.
As with everything, we need to critically evaluate all the cogs on the wheel before we can make a decision to make sure that the right decision is made to the best of our abilities. Hence, after going through the pros and cons, let us look at AI from a partial perspective. From a first perspective, we have to look at how HRM and AI interact with each other and as individuals. Transactional activities has the largest percentage of time spent on it, as it is the foundation of a firm's objective to have an exchange of goods and services. Transformational activities make up the least amount of time. With this in mind, AI can be utilized here to increase time spent on this section, which can translate to creating strategic value for the firm. What kind of transformational activity? We'll circle back to this later. Currently, most organizations are stuck on traditional and transactional activities since they are more routine work-based, and hence we see the possibility for AI to potentially take over those sections and be incorporated into transformational activities to maximize work processes intended for other HRM functions. Now, AI was created with the intention of betterment of humanity. It certainly has helped create convenience and efficiency. However, it can also be a double-edged sword. Setting parameters can be easy and innocent by human nature, as we have the capacity and intelligence to think and contemplate. But the AI just follows the parameters strictly and hence accidentally lead to what we deem as discriminatory behavior. As noted by Asher Shapiro, there can be a risk of discrimination from the basis of how the AI's foundation was designed. But with the untapped potential of AI yet to be fully explored, it can be redesigned to facilitate processes such as recruitment. But the larger question remains to audit, regulate, or ban the use of AI in human resources management activities. If even Elon Musk is wary of AI and its future uses and risks, then we too should be concerned and find ways to manage and optimize. Instead of outright banning AI, how can we find ways to maximize the capabilities that AI can be used onto other opportunities? Let's take a look at some of the opportunities that we can leverage on. Leveraging on opportunities, there is definitely no need for discussion as it is obvious as to why AI should not be allowed to make decisions. It is simply because it doesn't possess the human brain capacity and function, as it is nearly impossible to code how a brain functions, as everyone's brain is uniquely different. Thus, it should be left to humans after preliminary selection, as we can best decide for ourselves who would make the best fit. For alternative perspectives, AI has played a huge role in the recruitment function. To bring the discussion forward, we see another perspective of the usage of AI in strategic HRM function. Transformational activities create long-term capabilities and adaptabilities which bring about the greatest strategic value for the firm. The advantages of AI would bring more time for transformational activities which can benefit the organization in the long run. Above are examples of some activities we can potentially foresee with the integration of AI in the workplace, such as improved recruitment processes, employee performance management, or as promised earlier, transactional activities such as workforce administration. Thus, in conclusion, we feel that human resources will always remain a human-centric field where skilled professional backgrounds gain experience, empathy, and can never be replaced by technology. And with that, thank you for joining us for this presentation.